What's up, y'all? It's JJ, and I am the founder of the world's first international VR dance scene known as IDA. Back in 2019, I set out to create a dance scene in virtual reality that mirrored mine in real life, where people could learn about dance and the culture, can participate in battles and showcases, and ultimately build their confidence and self-esteem through the development of their talent. And ever since then, we've been on tour for the last 2 years. We work with companies like HTC, the developers of VR Chat and Neos VR. We've been featured on Steam pages and we have had articles written about us. We also work with multiple brands and sponsors who love what we do here. And now we work with professional dancers and travel all around the nation and internationally, where we throw events overseas like last year in Japan, video coming soon. But I've always set out to see how I can break the tracking or push the tech to its maximum capacity, and this is no different. So, what's the difference between the 3.0s? What's so good about the XR Elite? And are the Ultimate Trackers really up to the hype? Well, stay tuned to find out. For those who never used the XR Elite before, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what I like about it. So let's get right into it. Number 1, comfort. Now, it's great for not getting a sweaty face due to the small form factor, and the pad doesn't irritate your face or break your face out like the old pads do. In fact, with my old Vive, I had to switch over to silicone, which is better than the original pad, but then you have problems with your skin not being able to breathe. So this is a nice change. One of the pros to the headset though is that you can just put the glasses arms on them without having to have the big battery on the back of your head. You can then plug it up to any external battery that can power the headset, and you can play wireless VR games as much as you want with just a battery pack in your pocket. I won't talk about lens smudging or anything like that, since that's generally user error, because it's caused when your forehead touches the lens, which happens most commonly when you pull up the front of the headset while you're in VR so that you can see outside of VR, and that's when your forehead wipes the lenses there, causing the smudging and things like that. You're supposed to loosen the back of the headset first before lifting the front, but a lot of people just don't do this. The image on the XR Elite is really well done in my opinion, especially for its smaller size. Of course, if you're used to the bigger Vive Pro or Vive Pro 2, you're used to the bigger lenses, so it is a change, but for me, it's definitely more than sufficient for VR gaming. Next, we have the battery. So this right here was kind of a interesting portion to me, because normally the battery only lasts 2 hours when you use it. That's if you're not using the face tracker in my testing. Just know if you do use the face tracker that it does appear to drain the battery faster, which just makes sense since you have a new module attached to the headset. So when it comes to the 3.0s versus Ultimate Trackers, what is the big difference in game? So this is me and my friend Zed, who is helping me showcase the differences between the two. We use the same avatar so you can get a one-to-one comparison about how different or similar it really is. Also, when me and Zed go down to a prone position, my hip tracker is on the back of my hip and not on the front. In these examples that you're seeing where I lose hand tracking, I'm using the XR Elite plus the Ultimate Trackers, and it's 6 Ultimate Trackers accounting for feet, waist, elbows, and chest. The XR Elite controllers will lose tracking if they pass the side of the headset. That means if you go directly above your head or behind your head or behind your back, you will lose tracking if you are using the XR Elite controllers. Here, I'm using the standard controllers that come with the Vive XR Elite, but in the next section I'll show you how good the movement looks when you replace the XR Elite controllers with the index controllers. With the XR Elite, Ultimate Trackers, and index controllers, this is probably the best setup I've had for dancing in VR, other than using the Diver X gloves, but that's even more expensive than index controllers, and it still requires you to use base stations just like the index controllers. Essentially, using the index controllers removed the biggest issue I think with this original setup, being the controllers. But again, now you have to use base stations, which you were trying to get away from. And with some modifications, I can do a lot of things like doing breakdance stacks, which is going from, in this example, a head freeze to a side freeze. In order to get index controllers working with the XR Elite, you will have to use OpenSpace Calibrator and calibrate the controllers. It's very simple, but once you do that, you're good to go. So one of the key things to pay attention to during those demonstrations was I did not drift at all. I did some high intensity movements, no drift at all. In fact, no jiggle at all. The only jiggle that you started to see was from the index controllers when my hands were making impact with the ground, or if I was moving my hands too fast and the base stations were trying to calibrate exactly where I was. But other than that, there wasn't really any that I could see from the trackers themselves. Now for contrast, let's take a look at this dance clip where I'm wearing all 3.0s in the same area, but this time I'm using base stations.
Watch it turn it, leave it, stop. Who be the king of the sound? We just put a lock on the sound. I'm a bitch be coming from miles around. See they be coming, cause they know how to guard you. You know who holding the phone? Give me the crown. Niggas still looking and trying to give me a pound. I'm really fucking you niggas, you niggas just clowns. Making the bitch tripping through this shit on the ground. Get low, now that's the way that it goes. We up in the spot, the shit be flooded with holes. Come on, see, we make it hard to change the come out they clothes. That's where they get it. Me already know I can go. Shorty wildin' and shorty open, she beastin' it out. Load the record, just a second, I'm freaking it out. Come on, what's the try? Something I was peeping it out. You turned around and was trying to put my...
So as you can see, there are several instances of drifting, legs flying away, my elbow tracker is not working correctly. And these are just issues that I just don't have with the new trackers, and I'm very, very happy about that, especially for the price of these trackers. Now, on to the question of, is this better than the 3.0s? And the tech answer is yes, of course it's better. The tech is better, the accuracy is better. It's really no question of whether or not it's better. But the question you need to ask yourself is this something that you need? Especially if you already have the 3.0 trackers, you have a space already set up, and you're not making content or doing anything extravagant in VR that would require this upgrade. The big question is, how much does all of this cost? So let's do a rundown. The XR Elite plus controllers plus 3 trackers at retail price is $1,500 USD if you get the bundle. 3 additional trackers are $600 USD. This is the baseline price if you already have index controllers and base stations. If you're looking to add base stations, then they're $169 on Amazon or $199 on the HTC Vive website. Index controllers are $279 on Steam's website. Since I've had full body tracking since 2019, from the 2.0s to the 3.0s and now the ultimate trackers, I personally need the best because IDA is my community and we make content. But if you're not the same as I am, then I can definitely see how all this would be a bit much. When it comes to expensive equipment, HTC Vive is no stranger. If I recall correctly, the Vive Pro and the Vive Pro I retailed at around $1,500 upon release. So seeing the XR Elite's price isn't really a surprise to me. In order to have all the equipment that I showcased here in the video, you would need to have 4 base stations at $199 a piece, index controllers at $279, 6 ultimate trackers, and the XR Elite Ultimate Bundle, which is a combined price of $600 plus $1,500 USD. You would need phase tracking, that's an additional $250, and you would need 2 extra battery packs at $200 each, bringing you to a total of $3,825 before shipping if you're buying everything new and you've never owned a VR before. Although I feel like tech like this will be something that people just incrementally upgrade to over time, it's definitely a lot of money out of pocket. Here's just some quick points before I end the video. The HTC Vive streaming hub is perfectly fine. It works perfectly fine. Just follow the instructions. Calibrating your trackers in the headset and doing your PC if you're using 2 dongles like I am in this video is very simple. It's very easy. follow the instructions, make sure your headset's updated, make sure your trackers are updated. Everything should work smoothly. But that'll do it for this video. I hope it was enough to answer your questions if you wanted to see how good the trackers were versus the 3.0s. It's really up to you to decide whether or not you want them or not. But if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll get to you when I can. Thank you.